Hello ladies and jellyspoons and welcome to your magic fix. Now before we get started I just want to introduce you to the Morrowind Code Patch in case you haven't already got it installed. Now everybody should really download and install this. I'll put a link in the description. Now the code patch, it's not like a big mod or anything like that. You just run it, you click through them, they've got a description of what it does there, you check boxes, click apply patch. Why install it? Well, first of all, it addresses a lot of large bugs and issues within Morrowind. So why have I included it in the magic guide? Well, first of all, there's your unarmoured skill. Now as it stands, unarmoured is bugged and doesn't kick in unless you're wearing one piece of armour. Which is wrong, isn't it? So the code patch will fix that, but also it allows for something called swift casting. That was the one which was highlighted. Now swift casting, basically, much like you need to have a weapon out to attack with it, in the old version of Morrowind, you need to have your hands out to cast a spell. And swift casting means you don't. You can just cast, no matter what your stance is. It also allows you to cast a spell while your weapon's out, which allows for a very good sort of battle mage thing, you know. So yeah, I highly recommend it, even if you don't want the little tweaks and stuff like this, like swift casting, if only for the bug fixes, I recommend you install the code patch. Right, now I just want to cover stats when it comes to magic. Primarily, intelligence and willpower are your main attributes for magic. Now if you go through all your spells, you'll notice these schools of restoration, illusion, conjuration, mysticism, everything comes under its own, and if you actually look at them in the stat window, they all have their own governing attribute, which the majority of them are, like I said, willpower and intelligence, with the exception, actually, of illusion, whose governing attribute is personality, and I find that quite funny, really, the power of suggestion. Also, unarmoured comes under speed as well. But otherwise, intelligence and willpower. Now, intelligence there determines your maximum amount of magicka, so the higher your intelligence, the more magicka you'll have. And willpower affects your ability to resist magic and your maximum fatigue. Now, it doesn't say it, but this also actually increases the chance of casting something successfully. Primarily, though, it's the skill. The school of magic in which it comes from. The higher the skill, the more chance you have of getting it. And also luck. Now, you know, I can just show you an example actually. What's this first one? Cost 30, chance 85. There's an 85% chance of that being successful with luck 90. But if I just change... if I can remember the thing. There we go, I've just changed my luck to 0 and now there's 74% chance of it being successful. So having a high luck will also increase the chance of it working. I can't find an example, but when you have ones with a varying range, say 5 to 10 points of damage, you're more likely to get 10 points of damage out of it as well. I'll just set that back before I forget and start running around with 0 luck. What was it? 90. Ah, that's better. Back up to 85. Alright, so now I'm just going to go through the different types of magic. There are 9 in total, 6 of which are refined into schools of magic. Now the first one is alchemy. We've already covered that. The second one is enchant. We've already covered that. And then there's unarmoured. Now why go unarmoured? Because yes, even maxed out, actually wearing armour, providing you've got the skill in it, will provide more defence than not wearing armour. But this is really handy at the beginning though, because instead of having to put points into strength, you can put them into the magical attributes, like intelligence and willpower, because of course if you're wearing armour, you need to be strong enough to carry that armour around with you, as well as everything else. Now if you combine this with conjuration, which I'll come back to later, then you're not unarmoured, even though primarily you are. It'll make sense in a minute. Right, so now for the schools of magic. The first one here is destruction. Now you can probably guess what that is. That's you've got fire damage, frost damage, poison, shock damage, you know, damaging spells. You can also cast weakness to fire, shock, etc. You can make them weak to things. You can also drain their attributes and damage their attributes with destruction. Now, Restoration is another pretty obvious one. This allows you to restore your health and fatigue, and say if you were damaged by a destruction spell and your attributes were knocked down, it allows you to fix that. It also lets you fortify your skills, as well as things like cure common disease. Now, Conjuration, I love Conjuration. Conjuration allows you to summon creatures to come and fight by your side. But, now this is what I was going on about with Unarmoured, it also allows you to summon weapons and armour and bind them to yourself for 30 seconds or 60 seconds or whatever the spell is. So you don't need to carry that armour around with you, you can just summon it on the spot. Now, Alteration is a really handy skill. Alteration includes water walking, breathing underwater, slow fall, like here. It allows you to open locked chests and stuff like that. Feather's very handy, and of course levitate. Now, Illusion is another handy one. Illusion covers things like invisibility and chameleon. Now, I'll just tell you now, the difference between invisibility and chameleon is with invisibility, you cast it, you go invisible. But as soon as you interact with something, you know, either open a door or talk to somebody, you become visible again. Chameleon, that's not the case. With chameleon, you are invisible until the spell wears off. This also allows you to frenzy creatures and people, and also calm them. Now this is handy, say if you did something you shouldn't have done and somebody's a bit miffed off with you and trying to kill you, you can cast Calm Creature on them, which will just stop them attacking just for a bit, and then you can talk to them and bribe them or something like that to stop attacking you. It also includes Night Eye and Light. Now, I'm going to say don't bother with Light. Night Eye for the win. Light is only around you. Night Eye is everything. It brightens everything in your visible range. So that's much better. Now, Mysticism seems to be all the spells that couldn't fit into another school. Okay, what have we got? We've got Mark and Recoil, which of course is a very handy form of transportation. You've got Soul Trap, which is used with enchanting. It allows you to trap souls into soul gems and then enchant items with it. Telekinesis allows you to steal things from a distance, open doors, talk to people. It also allows you to absorb attributes from other people, sort of temporarily boost yourself. Unless you absorb health, that is permanent, and absorb magicka. Now, there are a lot more spells than just the ones I've listed here, but if you have trouble with any, feel free to leave a comment and I'll try and help you out if I can. And if you found this useful, don't forget to leave a rating, and I'll see you in the next one.